All right, everybody, topic 10, cross-text connections is our next topic here. So question types. Based on the text, the authors of both passages would most likely agree on which statement, or how would the authors of text 1 respond to a claim from text 2, or, text 2 to text 1, etc. Okay, these are pretty simple. They're kind of like rhetorical synthesis in that you do have to do a lot of reading sometimes, but here are steps to solve those types of problems. So the first thing you're going to do, you want to skim passages. You don't necessarily need to read every word. Just make sure you get the general idea. Make sure you know which side of the argument both are on, which reasoning, what line of reasoning they have, etc. Then you're going to eliminate conflicting choices, or choices that conflict with these lines of reasoning and their point of views. Now, remember that the correct answer, the correct answer will extend the author's point of view. They'll extend their ideology. What does that mean? Well, in each text, there's going to be some sort of ideology that's stated, some sort of point, choice, view, opinion, whatever, right? And they're gonna back that up with some sort of reasoning. But what your answer choice should do is your answer choice should kind of continue their logic, continue their line of reasoning, right? It shouldn't conflict with it. It shouldn't do anything like that. Let's take a look and just read these, okay? I'm not going to read them word for word. I'm just going to skim them, give you a second here to skim them, maybe see if you can answer the question. Okay, so let's start off with answer choice A. By pointing out that Moore would assert that external world skepticism is at odds with other beliefs that these proponents must unavoidably hold. Okay, and this is how author 1 is responding to author 2. So author 2 is saying that external world skepticism is philosophical stance supposing that we cannot be sure of the existence of anything outside of our own minds. Okay, and G.E. Moore, who is the guy up here, is offering a proof refuting this stance. Okay, and I would say that this immediately is our answer. All right, why is this? Because Moore is asserting, right, that to think about this, right, to even think about external world skepticism, you can't be sure of anything. So to be sure of something, or to be sure of anything, you need to have your basis. You need to be sure of something to be sure of anything, right? So I would say this is A. Now, this is pretty philosophical, right? We're getting kind of deep here. But by B, okay, so by arguing that it is valid, if it is valid to assert some facts are true based on instinct, it is also valid to assert that other proofs are inadequate based on instinct. Well, this isn't really what he's offering up, okay? There's not too much on instinct here. The main choice is definitely not on instinct, and this one doesn't even really mention instinct, right? So he's not going to respond to text 2 by talking about instinct when text 2 didn't even talk about instinct. Now, choice C, by agreeing, he's not going to agree. We can just take this out right here, but with agreeing that proponents that contradict his own is fundamentally unserious, okay, that's not how somebody's going to argue. They're not going to say, oh, you're silly, right? So this is not the right answer. Now, our last choice here, by suggesting that an instinctive distaste for Moore's position is preventing external world skeptics from constructing a sufficiently rigorous refutation of Moore. Now, she's calling an obviously annoying failure, right? And they haven't found out how to refute it exactly. But I would say that this is not the answer, right? Because although they are instinctively distasteful of it, right, external world skeptics aren't explicitly mentioned here, right? External world skeptics here are here. We don't know if she's necessarily specifically an external world skeptic because it just says many philosophers, right? And this is not what this author is arguing here. Okay, this is a better answer. Maybe this could work if we didn't have A, but D is just simply not as good of an answer because, of course, he's going to go after the root of the issue. This goes after the root of the issue, and this basically just says, well, if you can't do it, if you can't refute me, then I'm right. Okay, they're going to try to give some more reasoning. They're going to back up their previous reasoning. They're not going to keep saying, I'm right and you're not. That's not productive argument. So that means that A would be our better choice here.